Hi Stitchy friends, I'm Stephanie and welcome to my channel Little Lion Stitchery where we talk about cross stitch. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe and don't forget to like this video. So today we're going to be talking about something really exciting. We're going to be talking about Mirabilias and 5 things you should know before you start. So I am currently stitching my first Mirabilia and I have completed several smaller Nora Corbett's, so I will link them somewhere in some form, or you can go to my Instagram at littlelionstitchery or to my website at littlelionstitchery.com. So yes, I'm working on Gypsy Queen by Mirabilia. She's beautiful and fantastic and quite a lot of stitching to do. So the first thing I want to talk about is getting in the right mindset. So they're big and they're beautiful and they could be a little intimidating. I don't remember, but I think I was in one of like the Facebook groups or Instagram or wherever I first saw them, and I don't even think I realized that they had beads on them. I just didn't realize how detailed they were because you can only get so much information from a picture. But I just knew I had to do one. And yeah, I looked through several of them and I figured Gypsy Queen was very me, very like free-spirited boho kind of. So my spirit Mira, I had to stitch her. And I went through all the supplies because I kitted her all up all at once. So I don't think that was necessarily the right move, but I bought all these supplies and I don't want you guys to make the same mistake. So mindset. So getting in the right mindset. Like I said, they're big and I don't know where you first saw them, but maybe there's a lot of, they could be very intimidating, and I don't want you to get the chart and then never stitch them and just admire them, unless that's your thing. But I figured the goal of cross stitching is to actually stitch some stuff. So the real main thing to get over the whole mindset thing is just to start. Once you get started, it's kind of like any other stitching, you just can't put it down. As long as you make sure the one that you pick you're going to like, because you're going to be stitching it for a while. And obviously you can integrate other smaller stitches, like other patterns, and alternate your whips, but yeah, pick one that you're really gonna like so you don't, like, I don't know, lose steam, I guess. And then also get comfortable with how you're going to be stitching her. So what I mean by that is I bought this frame for stitching her just because there's a lot of fabric and I figured a scroll frame was perfect. I do own another scroll frame, but I purchased this one specifically because it didn't use the Velcro, which I thought would be kind of better. I don't know. I want to test out scroll frames and see. But, I don't know. It's kind of big and clunky, and for the most part, I keep her in my closet so that my cat can't get to her. And that kind of prevents me from stitching on her more. Just because if I'm sitting on the couch, I usually have like a bag with my smaller whips, so I'll just cross stitch one of those because they're right here. But yeah, so for the most part, I stitched all the whips that I want to get through, and I'm kind of solely working on her so that I can get through her more. But like I said, the more you stitch on her, the more you'll be like, the more you'll get through. But I think I should switch her either to a Q-snap. I don't know, maybe. We'll see. I'm kind of committed to this frame now, but I don't like that it's in my bedroom and I have to like walk to my bedroom, get her, come back. I don't know. It's just like a thing, like an out of sight, out of mind kind of experience. So I've seen stitchers stitch Mirabilias on hoops, like smaller hoops, and or smaller Q-snaps, and just move the Q-snap or the hoop around. But yeah, you're going to want to get comfortable and just start stitching. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to buy all the supplies at once like I did because, I don't know, I don't necessarily, like I said, think that was the right move. But, you know, buy just all the DMC first and stitch just the DMC. And then when you're ready, you can get the beads and everything else. Let's see. So tip number 2 is you can start with a smaller design. So like I said, I started with the smaller Nora Corbett Designs, and they have all of the, for the most part, they have all of the stitchy goodness that mirrors have. So you will be stitching beads. Yeah, they all have beads. Some of them have metallics, some of them have silks, some of them have just all the stitchy goodness that a bigger mirror is going to have, but you won't be spending as much time on it. But also it's a good practice. So, sorry, I keep like waving this around. But yeah, it's definitely going to be good practice to start on a smaller design, because then you'll be able to experiment with, like, this is the first time, I don't know if you can tell, this is linen, and this is the first time I've stitched on linen. So you'll be able to experiment with different materials and techniques, such as beading. This is also, when I stitched those smaller Noras, that was the first time I ever did beading. And I experimented with different directions to stitch the beads, because I wasn't sure. Just by looking at other people's stitching, I felt one way about the beading, but then once I actually did it, that changed. Sorry, I'm like looking at my notes while I'm talking. Oh, so recommendations, if you want to start with a smaller Nora, I really like the Letters from Nora series and the Letters from Mermaid series. So it's initials. The Letters from Nora are initials with the fairies, and then Letters from Mermaids are initials with the mermaids. And they're just really cute, fun little pieces. So if you, I don't know, if you have like children or grandchildren that you want to make a cute stitch for, or even yourself, I don't know. I just stitched the Letters from Mermaid S, and I will link that somewhere. And it's at the framers right now, and it came out really beautifully, and I'm kind of obsessed with it, and really, really love it. I think it's like my first, well, it's definitely like my first project, like big project for myself, I think. So I wanted to get it like professionally framed, especially because of the beading and the, it used classic colorworks, which I have used before, but I don't know, just this one, the variegation came out so beautifully, and like I said, obsessed. So you might want to try that. Another pattern I recommend is the Portrait of Antique Vines, which is in the 25th anniversary, the Mirabilia booklet. And it's a rather small pattern. I think it's, I'm not sure what the size is. I think max it's like 100 stitches vertically, I think. But it's a small pattern. And you could switch stuff out. So I plan on doing, well, don't tell anyone, but I plan on doing that for Mania. And that's one of the patterns. And I'm switching a bunch of the colors out. I'm mostly just stitching the silhouette in black and the vines in black. And then I'm using some DNC variegated floss. So, yes. And then, so tip number 3, consider your budget. So when picking a Mira, I think to kit her up, like, fully, was around $100. Now keep in mind, she's my first Mira, so I didn't have any like beading needles or just like extra things. I didn't have my invisible floss. I just didn't have like a lot of the supplies. But I don't know, $100 is a lot of money to drop on a like a hobby just all at once for a lot of people. So take in consideration, like look at the Mira you want to do and the supplies you need. If it requires more like a lot of them require more beading. Some of them have a lot of the Mill Hill treasures, which, you know, will add up if there's a lot of them. What else? Metallics and silks. Silks are very expensive. So, you know, a lot of the supplies can just like add up. So make sure when you're picking a Mira that it's affordable and you can fit in your budget. However, if it doesn't fit in your budget, you can always make substitutions. So substitutions are tip number 4, and I honestly like stitching substitutions, or just like making it your own, you know? So I figured that helps a lot with the mindset I found as well. So I've stitched one of the Bewitching Pixies, and I hand dyed the fabric, and I don't know why. Well, I think I also stitched on a Q snap, so it was a little bit easier for me to pick her up. But I don't know, I just found that like dyeing my own fabric, or I actually didn't bead her, so that was another like customization that I made. So if you don't like beading, or if you don't like linen, you know, stitch on Aida. If you don't like beading, you can either use metallic floss. If you don't like metallic floss, you don't have to add any sparkle. However, if you don't like metallic floss, I've heard the Petite Treasure braids are like the best metallic floss to stitch with. I haven't tried it yet, but I plan on, I'm doing a color conversion for a Mirabilia. After I finish this one, I'm trying to behave myself and finish this one first. But I think I'm going to substitute, because I'm switching out colors, so I'm just going to switch out the Krynic for Petite Treasure braids, and I'm very excited to see how that works out. But yeah, don't get supplies that you know you're not going to like just to like force yourself. Again, if you've never used it before and you want to challenge yourself, that's fine. But if you absolutely like hate linen, like I do not like linen, or you don't even want to try linen, you just like your Aida, which there's nothing wrong with that. By all means, just use Aida. It's going to be a little bit more like tedious, just because with Aida you don't have, like, you're stitching over 2 with linen and even weave, so you have those middle holes. With Aida you don't have that, so you have to poke a hole in between, you know, the threads. So that's my little thing about that. What else? Oh yeah, so you can also switch out silks or other, usually the silks, I think they're silks, are the water lilies, the carom water lilies. But you can switch them out for either DMC variegated floss, or you can switch them out for just plain DMC. Yeah, nothing, like I said, nothing wrong with making substitutions. And I've found, like I said, that it just makes it more special to like make it my own. And that was the other, oh, you can buy beads in bulk. You don't have to buy like the little package, you can buy them in bulk from different sources. Just make sure that the sizes are uniform, because I bought some really, really cheap beads to practice with, and the beads were not uniform, and it was really, really, just really annoying to stitch with them, because, I don't know, some of them are thinner, some of them are fatter, and I don't know, they just weren't good beads. But yeah, you can find bulk beads, seed beads on the internet for, you know, a better price, and it, you know, it just helps your wallet a little bit better. Oh yeah, and, you know, for stitching, sorry, I was like having a brain fart. And then one of my favorite things to do to really like make it your own is changing the colors. So maybe you see one and you're like, like, I don't know, I'm in, what's it called, Mirabilia Full Conversions, I think it's called, on Facebook, and so many people, when they post their conversions, are like, wow, I had no interest in this pattern, not even just like I didn't like the colors, but it like opens up your mind sometimes when another person does a conversion, because you never even thought of it, and then you see it and you're like, whoa, I need to do that because it looks so amazing. So yeah, definitely an option, changing colors. If you see something and you don't like the colors, you can always change them. And so I have an article on my website about changing colors, and I'm definitely planning on posting videos about doing color conversions, because I love, love, love talking about color theory, and like I said, I love doing conversions. I think it makes it more personal, and just, I don't know, they're more of a pleasure for me to work on. And tip number 5 is, I'm probably going to get some not everyone's gonna like this, but I think beading needles are overrated. There, I said it. So not always. You're not, and they're not that expensive, beading needles. But if you don't have them, it's kind of like you can add it to your haul. But if your beads are standard size 11, like I bought a bunch of beading needles, different sizes. I didn't know what to get, and I looked up and researched what kind of beading needles I need for my project, this and that and whatever. If your beads are the standard size 11, you could just use a 28 needle. So I use 28 Bowen tapestry needles, and I've learned that they fit fine in the size 11 beads. So if you stitch, especially if you're doing a smaller one, they usually don't require the petite beads, but it fit fine in my size 11 beads, and then in my Mill Hill treasure that I had, my size 28 Bowens fit fine, so I didn't need to buy any extra materials. But like I said, this one has size 15, the petite beads, so I'm definitely going to need a beading needle, which luckily I have a whole bunch of them. But if you're working with the standard size beads, you don't need them. Like I said, by standard, I just mean the size 11 beads. So yeah, those are my tips. Just don't forget to have fun stitching. If you're not having fun stitching your Mira, then you're not doing it right. Like, stitching should be fun. You shouldn't stress about it. You know what I mean? I definitely felt that way when I was looking into starting my first Mirabilia. I was very like, what do I do about this? And what do I do about that? But you'll learn as you go, and the more you stitch, the better you'll get. And like I said, you'll like pick up some techniques like here and there. But it's all about having fun, so have fun stitching. And yeah, if you have any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comments below. And yeah, I'll try and either incorporate it into a video, or and I'll also probably post it on my blog too. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and happy stitching! Bye!